What is up, guys? Welcome to a new video. So as with every single new patch, we're checking out some new picks that are doing much better in 7.4 over in career. So in theory, it's going to give us a head start on the meta and maybe sneak a few cheeky wins in before everyone catches on. So let's jump into our first pick. Actually, I kind of lied. It's Shyvana and Masteries. So I'm putting these two together because they're basically the same deal, to be honest. They're very similar jobs and they shot up for the same reasons, I think. These are not massively popular just yet, but in general, Masteries is better for lower ranks and Shyvana is for higher, even though they're kind of the same thing. Further buffs, the game's slowing down a bit, like tower first by gold being a little bit less and stuff like that. And lethality nerfs are going to be the biggest reasons why these can come up again a bit more. Jungle farm is also much more valuable and worth it in season 7. Both of these in theory should be better. They're basically like Graves. Obviously they don't have the burst, they don't abuse lethality, right? But part of why Graves is so good is because he can farm like a monster. He has really high farm counts, he's synergized with the items really well and scales. Shyvana is way more well-rounded as a champion though. She's tanky but a crap ton of damage as well, so she offers a bit more for our team. Like, you farm so fast though that you have more time to gank and take objectives. For Yi, it's more damage focused, right? Like, you are the carry, you split push, you 1v1 like a god, but you're not the best in team fights. That's why he's better at lower ranks, or at least easier to pull off a win. Most of the time they're both getting further at battle, but Shyvana is like a Blood Razor tanky and throws a mallet and Dead Man's Visage, stuff like that, or it's Blood Razor and Rage Blade. After that they normally get like Frozen Mallet and Dead Man's Plate. The Rage Blade is really ham, but it's a lot of damage. The Yi build is Blood Razor, Blade the Ruin King, and Range Blade. That is the most successful actually, and it's so ham just like Shyvana. But you can also get like a Steric's Third or a Dead Man's Plate. That's also quite common. So Twitch is going to be a power pick in 7.4, I think. The further buffs and lethality nerfs have made him a lot better. Plus actually the Blade the Ruin King buffs a little while ago. The further is really underrated with Twitch. It's so good. The attack speed buff on his Q means you can stack it quicker, the really long range with your ultimate. It makes your crits hurt more with the fervor. It makes your E hurt a lot more as well actually. In lane it's a big thing. Twitch is a late game beast. We all know that already, but if you can get ahead early, then you get your items earlier and you start to dominate. Further in lane means you can auto trade like normal, but you're rewarded so much more. So you auto attack 5 times to apply poison and then you press E anyway. That's just a normal play style, but now you have 5 extra autos worth of fervor on top of that. You're actually beating lethality ADs at the moment because you can all in. Like, lethality is very ability based. It's very good early, but the abilities have cooldown. So Jhin and Varus and stuff need time to burst you down, and Twitch doesn't really give you that time. His range makes him relatively safe for an auto-based champion, but still, you're just really, really good late game, and that's all the general stuff. In career, though, he's a very proactive pick. So you get ahead in the lane phase, you roam mid, you roam into their jungle, you get a lot more kills that way. Mid-game AD carries are not that great right now in Season 7, right? But Twitch is the exception, especially for crit champions. Like, you get 3 items and you're going to absolutely ruin the game, and Twitch can get them a bit faster. This one is especially at lower ranks, but even at higher still as well, actually. So maybe finally Yorick is going to kick some ass since his rework. This guy is super underrated, right? He's very hard to play against and he gets so tanky, but he does a lot of damage. So in career especially, he actually has a nuts win rate if the game ends before 35 minutes. So seeing as you only build 1 damage item, which is a Triforce normally, late game you do fall off a little bit. You can't kill people as easily, but you die faster. Early game though, you have Triforce, which is really good damage, plus Steric's if you get that as well, which buffs it. Dead Man's Visage, you're so tanky, you're so much healing, you're hard to kill, but you actually can kill people. Exactly what you want from a bruiser. You're also very good at diving people with that stupid ultimate and ghouls of yours, but to be fair, you are Riven's worst nightmare, at least stat-wise. Now, whenever I say something like that, every Riven main comes at me and says, oh, well, I can win that matchup, and it's like, sure, okay, I'm sure you can win that alongside your degree in feeding, but stat-wise, at least, Yorick does dumpster most Riven players. Basically, nobody really knows how to play against him. He does a lot of damage, he split pushes like mad with his ultimate, really good healing, and tanky mid-game, so you can actually carry. I've seen Yorick do much better recently, and especially at lower ranks. So this guy is a seriously impressive win rate. People won't know what to do against you in the lane phase, and that will lead to some pretty big leads. It also seems like people have finally jumped on the Warwick hype train over in career, with a steady win rate increase since he was re-released and right now doing super well. I don't think it's particularly surprising though. Further buffs help, plus lethality is nerfed, and it's going to reduce the amount of junglers that can ram him while he's trying to power up. Warwick is not really an early game jungler, right? You kind of gank, I guess, with the speed up and the fear, but it's really your ultimate that lets you get stuck in. So going into the mid game though, with Cinderhulk and Titanic, Deadmans, you are a massive powerhouse. Like, you do insane damage and you just don't die. It's so annoying. Even though Cinderhulk has some percentage scaling with it, it's a great item for mid game. Like, you have some burn to farm faster and health to soak damage. Really, health is one of the best stats you can grab for early fights at least. You do have decent engage, you can pick fights, you do damage and carry, and that's a real Korean teamfight pick in a nutshell, honestly. Yes, they do love damage and stuff, they love killing things, but they love winning more. This is why he's not amazing late game as well. Damage falls off, but diving in becomes way way more risky. Their macro play in general is pretty solid, so they're going to group and just Warwick ult to catch people off guard and secure objectives after that. Plus the fact actually Warwick can solo objectives with his sustain anyway. Matchup wise, you're not going to enjoy lethality very much because they can burst through your sustain, but basically versus any other jungler, he's doing really well. And luckily, most of those lethality junglers are banned too, let's be honest. Now let's move on to a bit more of a surprising pick actually. Tristana has suddenly rocket jumped back into the meta a bit more. Now just to be clear though, the Korean AD carry meta is mainly Ezreal, Jhin, Varus, and a bit of Caitlyn basically. Fervor has definitely helped though, but Warlords has a decent win rate as well, so it's not just that actually. I think the Last Whisper buff is going to be a big part of this, as weird as it's going to sound. Her win rate has jumped up in the middle part of the game specifically to a not trash level anymore. That is the biggest difference. So normally this is the time where tanks are too big and Trist has legit zero ways to get through them at all. I think with the new Fervor and Last Whisper, crit champions are coming back a little bit already, and this is just a reaction from that. She's one of the best late game champions you can play, and now games are longer, they're harder to end, and she's more useful mid game. She outscales pretty much every single champion. Her late game is insane, and her ultimate actually majorly screws with people like Jhin or Lucian or Misfortune who need to channel their ults. She's super safe. Fervor is going to add a lot of damage onto her E, but also just in general with her Q when she's attacking so fast. Now it is about time I put a support in one of these videos before people really rage at me, and Sona is stomping high elo and low elo games. Ardent Sensor is a really big reason for this. So the recent buff makes this really good on anyone who can AoE heal or shield or has a low cooldown one, which Sona has both. She's designed as a teamfight champion really. Remember, the ultimate cooldown reduction on her auras means she can just spam heals and damage bonuses over and over. You add a redemption and a sensor, and that makes it even harder to play against. The lane phase is also quite strong. She out heals poke, she out pokes poke normally with her damage, and her ultimate sets up a lot of things as well. She's super well rounded, just very low health. Most Koreans grab Eye of the Watchers, but for lower elo I think Frost Queens is a little bit better and actually even more AP. The thing is, Ardent Sensor, Redemption, Locket, and Athenes are all such good items individually, but they all synergize so well together and with Sona. It is unreal. Together you're going to be able to keep everybody alive. You're going to set up fights with your ult and have a massive impact, even if it's not obvious. I think we're going to be seeing her a lot more now. Her mid to late game is way too good, especially with more auto-based champions now too, and less lethality ones. Like Sensor with attack speed and like a Caitlyn or a Twitch is so much better. Blitzcrank is basically the only matchup she loses right now, which is why her win rate is so high. She heals and out damages other healers and just heals through poke champions. Now Singed is one of the best top laners you can play this patch in Korea, absolutely crushing it for now. And the best thing is this is similar to our game. It's one that 100% we could use straight away. I think it's kind of the new in favor tank at the moment actually. Like Poppy used to be, you do good damage in the lane phase, you have good engage, and it's an absolute pain in the ass to deal with. Triple Dark Seal is also helping a lot. He's become super popular over there, but it's a very like selfless playstyle actually. That's not really what you think from a Singed player, but they rush Righteous Glory in almost every single game, ZZ Rot afterwards, and then maybe Rylai's or Demons and Visage. At the moment, he does have the third highest win rate out of every single top laner in a game if it ends before 25 minutes. They get that Righteous Glory, boost of swiftness, and they just run at people with ghosts, flip them, and you start a fight. He's like a tank version of Quinn, to be honest. Like you run at people super fast, you can't get away, you pick fights, you end the game that way. Lane phase is pretty good with Triple Dark Seal as well. He can actually get ahead, and then it's a real issue. Late game, you're not that amazing. I don't think anybody is surprised about that, but early to mid game, you can cheese a ton of wins. He is really good against tanks though. We've seen it a bit in the LCS sometimes for this, and that's where a decent amount of his win rate is actually coming from. He out damages them and out heals them, so he gets kind of a free lane. For this last one, we're going to do something a little bit different actually and look at a bot lane pairing. Now Kog'Maw is like the new mid game AD carry actually. If you pair him up with a Lulu, you get Rage Blade, you get Runins, Blade the Ruin King eventually. Lulu just gets her Ardent Sensor and off they go. They just take over the game. Fervor is not that bad on him either, considering how fast he'll be attacking, how fast he stacks it and uses the AD, but Storm Raiders is also extremely good to kite with. Lulu on her own is very good right now anyway. She helps protect its assassin, she gives on hit damage, attack speed and move speed, and it adds up to a freaking ton if you have enough attack speed to abuse it. This patch I think specifically she can play with like Caitlyn or Jinx for example, and they'll do much better, but Kog'Maw is definitely the best. A 3-item Kog'Maw is basically unstoppable with a Lulu. Eventually late game the other ADs can kind of keep up a little bit more, other champions get more damage, they can maybe burst him, but there is literally like zero answer to a good Kog'Maw and Lulu pair before like 40 minutes into the game. The reason it's a pairing in this video is because on their own both are decent but not amazing. Kog'Maw is okay but nothing special. Lulu is the same. Like they're good but others can do a bit more than them. Together though they form this like dream team basically. You lose lane, you win lane, it really doesn't matter. You farm, you get 2 items and then you pop off. Kog'Maw's in a bit of a weird spot at the moment because it went back to his old state and it just doesn't really fit with the meta game exactly. It's kind of hard to kite, he doesn't really have obvious power spikes and it's very item reliant. This is is kind of why I'm saying you really need a Lulu. Like, most Korean players that play Kog'Maw actually go with a Lulu pairing when they play. They don't really do it with other supports. I've left it until the last end of the video because Kog'Maws are known for scripting, especially in Korea. So there might be something that is relying on that for their win rate, I guess. But actually, they are just really good. Even in other regions like Europe and North America, for example, like Kog'Maw is actually doing pretty decently when he's paired up with a support who just protects him and lets him run around and do so much damage. It's not quite the turret form Kog'Maw that we're used to, but they are really good. So if you're a bot lane pairing like AD carry and support duo, then maybe you actually want to give this a try because it is some real free low if you get to that 2 or 3 items. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think of the picks on here. Thank you very much for watching, but for now, let's go to the robots.